San Pedro Sula, the place. It's the Olympic Metropolitan Stadium. World Cup qualifying, fourth round, final round. Honduras against the United States. This they call the Hex. They don't want to call it hostile. That's what Jurgen Klinsmann says. However, as you can take a look, it is definitely a lot of emotion on display. Phil Shane sitting alongside Ray Hudson and the all-time caps leader for the United States, Kobe Jones. And Kobe, you've been here in situations like this. For Honduras, situation normal, but for a relatively inexperienced U.S. squad, this could be a problem.
This definitely could be a problem because you have a lot of young players like you mentioned. And when you're coming into this situation where all the fans are against you, you're getting the yells and the screams, it can be a bit intimidating. And this is where you got to rely on your veterans to step up and bring the group together.
And again, Ray, this the hottest part of the day. At kickoff, expected to hit 90 degrees. And as far as this U.S. squad, high humidity, high temperatures, high pressure. The dignitaries making their way along. Tim Howard wearing the captain's armband today as he passes along Jeffrey Webb, the new president of CONCACAF. And right now trying to clean things up. And as far as this World Cup qualifying goes, it might end up being a good sign for him. This Honduras squad, many people say it's the third best. The United States and Mexico coming in as heavy favorites over the entirety of the Hex. But as we know, this Honduras team is a World Cup team in its own right. In fact, perhaps a bit unfortunate in the last World Cup not to advance out of the group stage. And Kobe, again, World Cup 2014 Brazil, a long way away, but in many ways this is the first real step.
Yes, when we're talking about the Hex, this is it. This is the path to Brazil. This game is so important, much more important for Honduras than the USA. USA is coming into this game, regardless what anyone thinks, just trying to get a tie. That's what everyone's got to remember. You're going to play for the win, but you'll be happy if you get out of here with a tie, while Honduras, I expect, is going to push for the win.
Well, the emotion on full display, as you can hear from the crowd, as far as this United States squad. As they were coming in, we talked about it during the pre-match. The fans outside the stadium, let's just say it was a warm welcome. Saw the pictures, the videos from the last World Cup qualifier. And in the dressing room with the tiles shaking above the roof, it is definitely a deafening sound. There are a few empty seats. It is midday, and the temperature right about 90 degrees as Luis Fernando Suarez trying to get every advantage that he can. They are expecting rain in the forecast, so the humidity up there as well. And Kobe, we were talking about this a while ago. Maybe for some of these players, not quite accustomed to it, especially the ones coming over from Europe.
I think it's going to be a bit of an issue for the players coming from Europe, just because when they come from that weather over there, it's going to be such a complete change from going from the 40s, 50s, and then all of a sudden you walk out here and you're in the 90s.
Take a look at this starting lineup. Keep an eye on Mario Martinez. This could be perhaps the best advertisement he has to Siggy Schmidt, that he should be playing a bit more. Of course, Boniek Garcia on the other flank, and Espinosa and Garrido, the two players right now in the anchoring position, but again, expect Roger Espinosa to be the one that leads the charge. For Jurgen Klinsmann, Umlaut fully intact. Let's find out how his defense goes. 6 World Cup qualifying caps in his career between Fabian Johnson and Jeff Cameron, while Omar Gonzalez and Timothy Chandler making their official debuts. Danny Williams anchoring. Jermaine Jones will actually play inside a little bit, almost mirroring Michael Bradley. But Jones's job is going to be to cover when Timothy Chandler pushes up, and that could cause some problems.
Well, I think that's going to put a lot of pressure and asking a lot of Jones, because now you're taking away a little bit of his offensive prowess, because anytime he goes forward, he knows if Chandler goes as well, he's got to drop in there. So I think you're hampering him a little bit there. And this basically unbalanced lineup that the U.S. has, as you can see it right here in the first picture. Not really anyone on that right flank right now except for Chandler. Let's see how
that's all going to change as well, isn't it, Kobe? Once we get rocking and rolling, this team from Klinsmann is a very brave lineup, very offensive in my opinion, very aggressive. They'll be filling in for each other, but the two men up front, if they go with two, we will see. Seems to be Dempsey and Altidore. How is that chemistry going to be between them? Because those lads coming on from the back, from the midfield rather, is going to be hugely important. It's a different type of look here. It's extremely aggressive and a confident lineup. Well, Klinsmann said this United States team would be an attacking team, and now this is the business end of the qualification. It doesn't get much more attacking than this.
No, and I think this is why we saw Klinsmann really keep that lineup secret, because there are a lot of changes in
Big
here,
surprises.
and a surprise that I don't think anyone expected here.
Luis Suarez, the Honduras coach, will certainly be knocked for a little bit of a loop.
Well, we are underway. Michael Bradley leading the charge in the midfield for this U.S. squad, dressed in their road blues. Almost a turnover right away, but reclaimed by the United States.
See the early bounce of this ball as well, Kobe. Hard conditions, super hot atmosphere, and these white shirts are going to be right on top of the boys in blue right from the get-go. But of course, the big thing about this game is taking your chances. The United States have got the type of players in this lineup, not just up front, but in the midfield, that can capitalise, but they've got to hit to the back end of the net against this Honduras side, and Michael is one of them. Late arriving runs will be there.
Launching it in off the restart, almost finds Altidore, cleared away by Minor Figueroa, and launched upfield. Bengtson, maybe I want to call it the more honest of the two front runners. Not that Costly a cheater, but Costly a little bit more up and down. Espinosa drives towards the 18, and a trip from Jones, but the referee right there says play on.
Right on top of it, and has a clean look.
Espinosa Minor Figueroa's teammate at Wigan. Now Jones dispossessed. Good hustle from Luis Garrido. Espinosa pokes it back. Altidore slamming it away. It will spin towards touch on the near side. A lot of pressure in the midfield, and the foul called against the U.S.
Well, you got to realize the U.S. team that a lot of pressure, like you just mentioned, is going to be coming through that midfield. Honduras wants to win the ball in the midfield, start that quick counterattack and try to get that ball forward as quick as possible to Bankston and Costley and see what they can do.
Good hustle by Altidore, almost pokes it free, but Minor Figueroa over in time. Very interesting to see that because Altidore apparently getting the lesson from the Jamaica match and now back in the good graces of Jurgen Klinsmann.
Well, I think he's doing a good job, Klinsmann, that way, holding the players accountable, even the superstars swimming in from Europe saying, have you done anything yet? What have you done for me lately and for your country? He's really holding them up under pressure, and we'll see how the boys respond.
Well, Kobe, let's get on that a little bit because Clint Dempsey was one of those that was right in the target zone. Some people, I think, misunderstood what Klinsmann was trying to say when he says you haven't done anything. I think really what he's saying, and from a player's perspective, you always have to be improving yourself.
I want to do more.
Well, that's exactly it. As a player, you can't rely on what you did before. And it's just that old line, and it's a little cheesy, but what have you done for me lately?
Mario Martinez launching one down the line. Chance for the cutback.
Good play.
To the goal line. The cross towards the 6. Awkwardly cleared by Williams. Still in the 18, but then launched to safety. Howard trying to calm the waters.
This ball, Kobe, this ball's really lively. Coming to the players on a roller coaster. And there's going to be mistakes in there. And if you catch that ball, you know as a forward, you scored plenty of goals against my teams over the years. You catch that ball nice and sweet and it'll rattle past the net. But Tim Howard got good protectors in front of him here today. Good tall defenders as well. Still feel as if, Kobe, this midfield of the USA is where they're going to be able to be very productive. They've got some good players that always know how to arrive late on time. And if Josie can hold that ball up, if he can make it stick, he will have plenty of good options running off him.
Ball launched across field. Trying to find a gap, Carlo Costley. Mario Martinez whips it into the 6. Bobbled by Howard, but he falls on top of it.
Timmy Chandler a little bit lax in holding back there, not closing the attacker down, giving him plenty of time, Martinez, to pick his spot. Chandler standing off a little bit there.
What's this arriving late on time again? Are we back into time travel?
Yeah.
Well, we catch the end of this with what we're talking about is Martinez on that left side. He's going to try to go at Chandler, and that's going to be the big battle. Can he pin Chandler back and whip those crosses in? Because that is so deadly as we saw there. Just a little bit of a bobble from Howard already.
Yeah. And hearing the Olays already, the fans, well, they probably could have sold the seats twice because I don't think anyone's using theirs at the moment. Espinosa down the line for Mario Martinez. Finally got a goal for Seattle. Barely got some games on that talented Sounders squad, but in the playoffs against RSL showed what he could do. Back into the midfield again, Luis Garrido. Now over in Europe himself in Serbia.
We're going at Timmy Chandler here, lads.
Well, again, I guess you could say, and we talked about it, U.S. already a winner to some extent.
Good
Ball
turn.
at the top for Bengtson, tries to kick it off, but cleared away. Timothy Chandler now cap-tied for the U.S. His first match in a full international.
And that's got to be a lot better by Dempsey right there. When you're under a lot of pressure, as you see the U.S. is right now, you need someone that can hold the ball and play out. That's so important to give your team a little bit of a rest, a little bit of a break.
I think that's one of the things in this lineup, Kobe. He's put out so many good players.
Long range from Dempsey.
Very, very good at holding the ball and possessing, but it's Honduras, as you would expect, pressing the game and unsettling the midfield. There hasn't been too much synchronicity in that USA team so far, but they have been under pressure, and again, this isn't exactly the most beautiful passing surface. You see this ball when it's coming, man, it is lively.
Down and towards the corner, cleared away. Omar Gonzalez also making a debut of sorts. 3 caps, but none in qualifying. The Dallas native, many surprised that Carlos Bocanegra did not get the call, but Bocanegra on loan in the Spanish 2nd Division, where he's had to fight for playing time and fight off some injuries. And apparently Klinsmann thinking Gonzalez the hot hand. Long switch to the near side.
Oh.
Good settle in the box, but no one making the trailing run, and looks like Costly might have been a hair offside.
Well, either way, it was a good ball in to Carlo Costly, and he's just looking for Bexton right round the corner from him, but nowhere to be seen. Those two forwards of Honduras playing a little bit apart from each other and stretching the back line of the United States.
Ball won back by Jones to the inside.
Good ball.
Finds Dempsey, bobbled, bumped. Espinosa looks to bring him down, but Walter Quesada, the Costa Rican referee, sees nothing. Deflected away. Garcia starting a break. It's 3-on-1. Bengtson to the inside. Costly saved by Howard. Rebound and finally cleared by Gonzalez, but an offside flag.
Terrible
the US
finishing
under
here
pressure.
for Honduras. A wonderful counter-attack in that back line of the United States, Kobe, all over the place like marbles on a block of granite. No communication, and Costly, well, that could prove costly at the end of this day, we will see, but we're talking about opportunistic hits. He's got time, he's got space, he's got everything a forward needs, and that's finger down the throat finishing.
Well, on that play for Costly, he's really got to make sure that he's on sides there. He's gone too far, but the question for me is the back line already very disjointed. One player, Cameron, 5 yards behind Gonzalez. That line's got to be together, because if you don't get that right, these players are going to be running through all day.
Well, we know this team in white's got that chemistry. They've been really tip-top throughout the last couple of years, and it's been much more of a unified team. Honduras, United States, still working at getting their new parts together here by the looks of it.
And again, that was the risk. You'd expect someone like Bocanegra to be the one that would marshal that back line. And I think while Gonzalez might be the guy in 2014, you wonder whether he's the guy in 2013.
You know, we've seen this United States team really give up some cheap goals over some games have been super impressive, of course, and against Russia, of course, they let a bad little letting down of the concentration and focus. We've seen it before, and they did it against Guatemala again. Remember Carlos Ruiz? But both those games, they came storming back. So early nerves, perhaps, a little bit of stage fright from the United States so far.
Good play by Costly again. Trailing run on the overlap. Peralta pressured and played all the way back. Eddie Johnson, he's got some defensive responsibilities on this left flank.
Well, that's the big issue for me, is that you have Eddie Johnson defending in your own box. That is not what the USA wants. He has to do it sometimes, but overall, he's not the best defender, and you saw a little bit lackadaisical with that ball back, to Howard already.
Cameron, one of his gifts. That one might need to be returned.
Clint
all the way down to Valladares.
There first, and then there's a good change between Altidore and Dempsey, swapping positions. But there's that fluidity that we're talking about. You would imagine Eddie Johnson being another one involved with swapping in between those two, Altidore and Dempsey.
Boniek, the cross almost perfect, but the 6'5" height of Gonzalez gets in the way. Regardless, looks like another flag against Honduras.
Even though that's offsides, that right there is why Omar Gonzalez is in there. For any of those balls being whipped across and whipped in deep, Omar has the size and the leaping ability to clear it.
You can't teach height.
You can't teach height, you can't teach leaping ability like that.
Well, let's hope so, guys, because you've got that sort of height and you've got that sort of strength that Gonzalez possesses. These are very quick whippersnapper type of players for Honduras, and they're going to be going after Omar.
10 minutes in, Honduras again trying to make the turn. This will be a foul against the United States just in their half as Bengtson tripped up.
And that's a good step in by Cameron in the midfield. If you're going to do that and you don't get the ball, make sure you get the man, take the foul, let your team get back and reset.
Well, Kobe is someone with 164 caps, more than anyone in U.S. history. What do you think is going through Gonzalez and Chandler's mind right now?
Well, I'm sure...
If you can remember back that far.
That is such a long time ago. But I tell you right now, for those two, they're thinking about, let's just play it safe. Let's play it safe. They haven't had a lot of time together, so they want to make sure that nothing comes down their side and playing simple when they do get hold of the ball.
Martinez switching flanks, now coming from the right, but he will retreat. Tamuma Bernardes, the San Jose Earthquakes hard man. Something we haven't really talked about with Bernardes and Figueroa. Free kicks from midfield. Tim Howard better be awake. 12th minute. Again to the midfield for Boniek. Houston Dynamo's midfielder linking up well with the former Kansas City midfielder, pushing it in for Costly, and Bengtson now giving chase. Pressuring Cameron, tries to force it free, and the U.S. a bit rattled here in the early going.
Certainly are. Hondurans taking it to the United States, and there's good movement from Bengtson and Costly. They really are pulling around Jeff Cameron and Gonzalez in the heart of that defense. Kobe, and they really are. They're lovely little dagger balls. The offside trap has worked, whether it's by design or good fortune for the United States, but they're playing a little bit of a risky game, allowing this type of possession from the Whites. They've been able to find their targets.
Nice step in by Altidore, forcing the poor pass by Espinosa. The U.S., however, seems to be stuck in neutral. Talking to Jurgen Klinsmann, said a couple of different types of grass on the field, and it's playing a bit slow. However, he said in good condition on the whole. U.S. trying to take it down the corner. The cross from Chandler intercepted on the chest of Bernardes. He'll clear it down the line. Settling at Garcia. Seems to be the mirror image to Martinez. That's something that the newcomers, Chandler and Johnson, even to a point, will have to be aware of.
Klinsmann would enjoy seeing this type of possession, just to take the sting out of the game and get some sort of rhythm and confidence built in through the team, because opening 12 minutes the US has been definitely on the back foot.
Well, listening to Klinsmann during this week, he said 1 touch, 2 touch in the midfield. Don't let Honduras get settled. I think the U.S. would probably settle for any touch.
Well, right now, yes, when we're talking about this first 15 minutes of the game, and we are harping on the back line of the U.S. and the midfield, the U.S. seems a little bit slow right now. But when it comes down to it, there haven't been very many great scoring opportunities for Honduras, and that's a big step up for the U.S., and that's what they want. You know they're going to get their chances, and they're going to come out in the first 15, guns blazing. So, hey, if you're going to weather the storm, no good shots, and you don't take a goal, you have to be happy if you're the U.S. right now.
Danny Williams puts it out. It'll be another throw-in for Honduras. Again, Peralta, the almost Toronto red. In fact, who knows if that might pop up again. Bernardes, Figueroa, and Garcia filling in for the Celtic left back Izaguirre.
Whoever it is up top for the United States, they really are conserving energy, not pressurizing the back line of Honduras.
Jermaine Jones rather casual on this one as Garcia stays in front, now spins away, pops it in towards the corner. This time the flag stays down. Chandler over. Carlo Costly loves that fake back heel, but looks as though some of the Dynamo teammates like Jeff Cameron spreading the word. Again from long range, a step up from Arnold Peralta. Eddie Johnson on defense, lofting it high to the back post. Settled in the box by Costly. Drives it across Jones, across the face of goal, but out of play.
A little bit lackadaisical for my money. Jermaine Jones and Timmy Chandler on that left side in their real fundamental closing down of players. They seem to be standing off Honduras forwards a little bit too casually.
A little too early for the heat and humidity to affect, but apparently it has. Good overlap by Garrido, the defensive midfielder, with a cross. Chested back.
Beautiful.
Little guts from Jermaine Jones, but he has Tim Howard behind him.
Little guts, a lot of class.
And one man to beat, but they could not. Josie Altidore, the lonely run back. Quarter hour in the book, and would there be a time mark? Would there be something as simple as that? Klinsmann would say, okay, let's get through the first quarter hour and then take it to them.
Well, I really expect Klinsmann is looking at this game in basically halves. He wants to get through this first half at least 0-0, and then after that, that's when you start making the tactical changes, I believe, to maybe press a little bit during that second half of the second half. You just want to be safe. If you can get out of here 0-0, you're good to go. That's what Jurgen Klinsmann is looking at.
They're playing very moderate in the attacking phase of the game. The United States concentrating more on the defensive duties and getting their shape together a little bit more as this time goes on.
BeInSport.tv. Don't forget, check us out. We've got more qualifying action coming your way later. In fact, if you think this one is a difficult situation, what about Costa Rica at Panama? That coming up a bit later. Check out BeInSport.tv for the schedule. And there's how you can get involved on Twitter. Espinosa rolling it off to the near side, and another lazy leading of the line. This time Peralta got caught napping. Offside number 4 against Honduras.
Well, the one thing you want to look at if you're a fan watching this game right now is look at the numbers that the U.S. has back. You have maybe 3, 4 Honduran players up, and you have 8, sometimes 9 full defenders dropped into the defensive third. Sure. That shows you're playing very safe right now and just trying to make sure you don't take an early goal.
Yeah, 53-year-old Luis Fernando Suarez.
That's for sure. And as I said, they really are, United States, playing it cleverly, leaving either Altidore, sometimes it's Dempsey, sometimes it's Eddie Johnson up front, and sharing the defensive responsibilities, covering back. So it seems to be the plan. You know, just defend. It's pretty deep as well, but they drop off and they leave that lone wolf, one of 3 up top, and they're rotating those guys.
Remember, in the last qualifying, we talked about the 3-1 comeback win by the U.S. Honduras was a perfect 8-0 at that point as the U.S. came away with the victory. This is a little bit more difficult, Kobe, as the giveaway in the back from Chandler. At this stage, everyone can see the path to the World Cup.
Yeah, that's the great part about the beginning of this hex. You know, you have everything to play for because everyone's even right now, and Honduras is feeling confident. They've done well as we go through the Olympics and all the tournaments that they've played in up until now, and they have a lot of quality players that are stepping up their game, which make them so dangerous, especially on the offensive side.
Roger Espinosa, man of the match in that final against, or that performance against Brazil in the Olympics. Standing ovation when he exited, and now off to Wigan. That one just behind him as it trickles across, and you can see maybe not time wasting, but a little strategic instruction from Tim Howard.
I can tell you right now, I'm taking a look at the players, not only while the ball is near them, but when the ball is away, and you can see there's a little bit of, well, I guess you would just say, just like the heavy legs already, the head dropping down. I'm sure right now they're feeling the effects of the heat, and from what I've heard, the field, the grass is long and very spongy, so heavy on those legs.
Ball intercepted again, Minor Figueroa. Talked about his free kicks, also his throws pretty much go from the sideline to the far side of the box sometimes. Klinsmann didn't really criticize the field, but you're right, he did say it was heavy and conserving a bit of energy. Temperature actually a little bit cooler than they had expected. It's supposed to be about 90 degrees, but some clouds coming in, maybe the rain coming in a bit early, only about 84, which is about what the temperature was in the afternoons when they were practicing in Miami. And they only had a couple of days to get accustomed. Almost poked away, now it is. Good work by Chandler, finds
Josie. Where the United States can be dangerous, late arriving runs in the boxes for them in.
Bradley wide for Chandler, he's a good server. This time launched edge of the 6-yard box, but Eddie Johnson, supposed to be the left midfielder, was almost in at center forward. He'd switched with Josie.
Situations like that, Kobe, they've got to make better use of the ball, haven't they? And it's just a hopeful ball, just pumped into the area, not picking out a player, and there was no staggered sort of runs from the United States. But there you see Josie really, as you were alluding to, just really heaving there in the early going, getting his legs back.
Yeah, you really want to have a driven ball on that play when you have the numbers. You have 4 in the box, you want to have a quality cross and give those players an opportunity to have a go at it.
Yeah.
Honduras coming in 59 in the FIFA rankings, as high as 20 back in 2001 when the U.S. had a 2-1 victory against Valladares in Honduras in qualifying. U.S. is 28th. That's actually a bit of an improvement, but had been 4th way back in 2006.
See Jeff Cameron there barking at his midfielders. He'll be wanting to get a little bit more focus when this team in white gain possession of the ball. He's allowed his men to settle down a little bit more, but there you saw him saying we need to be a little bit more focused on pressing on to these danger men in the white shirts in the midfield engine room.
Dempsey dropping it back. And Kobe, you were always a wide player, but someone like Cameron moving back to the back line after playing in the midfield at Stoke, is that going to be much of an adjustment for him?
Well, I think it will definitely be an adjustment just because you're in a different position when it comes down to it. You know, for me, I was a midfielder forward, so I'm going to say it's an easier job. But I think Cameron is smart enough that he can handle that. He's a leader now. You can see that he's stepping up by the fact that he's barking at his players. He's trying to get his team going.
Good turnover taken by the U.S. in the midfield. Bradley on one of those forays, but coming back, Boniek sneaks it in. Dempsey settles on the left, looking for help. Johnson shields, drops for Jones, took the second touch, and that's all Garrido needed. Now it's Espinosa the other way, nearing the midway point of this opening half, sending it wide, and Boniek, perhaps the best one-on-one player on the pitch. Now to Espinosa, plays it square, trying to use every inch. Martinez from long range. That one might even bounce into the stands.
It's a great opportunity there. A minute earlier, though, wasn't it, for the United States to actually test this goalkeeper at the other end of Tim Howard. Good possession there from the States and just not picking the right pass quickly enough.
Well, I think I think Bradley did a very good job, Michael, getting the ball to the wing, but instead of getting to the inline like most people thought he was going to do, he drops that in early and finds Dempsey, which creates those opportunities. They just need to make sure they get a shot off on that situation. But one thing I do want to mention, 20-minute mark, they've really weathered the storm. Now the U.S. is starting to pick up possession. They're starting to get a little bit of a feel for the game. This is what they needed. This is what they wanted to do.
Pushing that defensive line a bit closer towards midfield. Espinosa bumped. Dempsey exchanges a few words. Martinez finds Boniek, tries to dribble around. Cameron just got a touch. Espinosa the turning shot, and Howard in good position.
A perfect position at the top of his 6-yard box. Beautiful narrowing angle by the Everton man. Needs big performance here today in the last line of defense.
Chandler, not any sympathy from Quesada, the Costa Rican referee.
We take a look at this. Espinosa's wide open with that shot right there. Obviously a chaotic situation beforehand, but you don't want to give him too many opportunities at the top of the box taking shots like that, because he has the skill and the quality to put that in the back of the net. 23-year-old
Peralta to the inside for the veteran Bernardes, and something we haven't really talked about, the referee, and I have a feeling with some of those comments coming out of Europe that referees around the globe will be under extra scrutiny, but a few situations in CONCACAF. While the U.S. has had some success, should we say, with Quesada in charge. Kind of remember a certain match a year ago in Azteca that comes to mind. He was the referee for the U.S.'s first ever victory in Mexico City.
Still never seen the United States utilize this pace, though, that they've got to try to find spaces behind the back line. Here's a good opportunity for Josie, but again, few options for him. Few clear options.
Starting to see Jones.
A little bit pedestrian in the build-up here. You'd like to see Josie released over the top a few times to turn this defense around.
Something we talked about, though, before the match, Kobe. Altidore quick, but not that fast. Eddie Johnson really the only speed player in there.
That's what I was expecting to see, a little bit of changing in position there, because Eddie can be a great threat like that, Phil.
Jermaine Jones appeared to win the corner, and the linesman Octavio Jara says yes.
Now this is the great opportunity for the United States right here. We see the size, and I expect Gonzalez to be coming forward, and Cameron. I mean, there's a lot of big targets for the U.S. right here.
Although Honduras not as small as in the past, but on that back line about 6 foot, we have a few 6'5" guys. Launching it long, Dempsey plays it square. Bradley settles, turns, had to poke it towards goal, deflected away, and the U.S. will swing to the other side and try it again.
Very surprised by the lack of aggressiveness by the Honduran team right there. Dempsey with a wide open header to Bradley, and he's allowed to trap it and tee it up for a shot before someone closes down.
By Deuce for sure. A good header.
Now Jones will sweep this one in towards Valladares. 35-year-old dean of CONCACAF goalkeepers, over 100 caps. To the edge of the 6, they find Cameron, but he can't find the range. And a player down on the collision at the 6.
Great opportunity here for Eddie Johnson. Wonderful delivery right into the heart of that 6-yard box, and Valladares doesn't know if he wants a shave or a haircut here. He stays, he comes, he makes his mind up, not. And then Eddie is right on top of it, and that's a good chance for the United States gone begging. Eddie did tremendously well to meet the train at the station on time, but just couldn't get above himself.
Just under 20 minutes left to go in this opening half. Honduras having to adjust a bit to the way the U.S. has adjusted to them. Not quite 2 lines of 4. Still a little bit of scrambling going on. Danny Williams trying to shepherd Espinosa. Far side, Garcia. Inside for Garrido. Former Olympia man making the move in this winter period to Red Star. Martinez. Lifting it, Minor Figueroa. That could be dangerous. Settled Bengtson looking for the run. Have to try and retreat, and back comes Dempsey.
There's that ball, though, right to the top. Just turning the US around, and Bengtson very wasteful in possession there. Good opportunity for his supporting players to come onto them. Strange sort of game.
This is a very difficult game for Altidore, being up top by himself. Any of those long balls over the top, he's expected to chase them down with no support.
Launched high, launched far, and doesn't bend out, but Fabian Johnson shepherds it out. It'll be a throw in deep for the U.S. Interesting to see how much pressure Honduras puts on to try and keep the U.S. here.
Just been such a lack of quality, hasn't there, in the dangerous areas. Just that final pass not being right, or the final movement just not being inviting enough for the last ball at both ends.
We were talking about this again with Kobe. You're one that says players might be a bit more affected by altitude, but it does look like the humidity sapping just a bit here on both sides.
Well, let's be honest, humidity is a sapper as well when it comes down to it. Just having a hard run, and you just have that drenched feeling, and when you breathe in, it almost feels like you're breathing in wet. So it's tough.
Kobe, I played 15 years here in Miami, so it took its toll on me.
Poor clearance from Johnson, settling near the 18. A little bit of a bump from Cameron, but the glancing header finds the mark. Here's Bradley. Slots for Dempsey. Giving chase Garrido. Dempsey holds him off. Jones with the switch. Johnson the settle. Johnson the cross. Looking for goal is Josie, but it's on the wrong side of the crossbar.
Wonderful play from the United States. Finally, the class comes out, and this is top-class quality. It started way deep from Michael Bradley with his initial ball, and then they connect all the dots. The wide ball was played out beautifully. Nice control. Eddie sees his target on the inside of him. It's a nice delivery, and that's good defending at the end.
Well, that's just great combination play by the U.S. getting forward there. Seeing the speed and quality of Eddie Johnson on that wing is finally coming through.
Yep, it came back very deep as well, Kobe. That's a good indicator of how the United States can just get out of their traps and really put it together on the counter.
Boniek, a one-man wrecking crew, finds Espinosa. Sneaks it to the top of the box for Costly, a bit behind Bengtson, and that's the only break the U.S. needed. So those 9 shots, 5-4, only 1 Honduran shot on target. The goalkeepers have been a bit busy. Now, a collision that the ref calls against Dempsey, and you could see Jones catching his breath. I don't think they're all checking their shin guards.
I doubt they're all checking their shin guards. You can see it right there just by the presence of the players. You can tell that it's affecting them, the humidity, the heat, but it's affecting both teams when it comes down to it. That's what they have to remember. The Honduran players are feeling it just as much. And if you can run the course here, you're going to get those opportunities. Interesting point. We'll bring it out a bit. Eddie Johnson bumped down, fouled against Honduras. I think MLS has perhaps been a bigger, or had a bigger impact elsewhere in CONCACAF than the United States. We see so many of these MLS players for Honduras and beyond. So a lot of their players are out of season, and several of their players from Europe, so very few homegrown players that are truly accustomed to this weather.
Well, that's one that's at the opposite side. Michael Bradley has been sharp, been precise, playing top-class football in Rome, of course.
Could probably use a Totti at the other end of this. Launched in towards the 6, and it carries all the way to Valladares. He'll want that one back.
We're finding from both squads that any of these set plays and crosses, the players seem to be really getting underneath it and hitting it a little bit too far. Needs to be a little bit more concentration on that when you're crossing the ball or hitting those set plays.
Costly dropping back into the midfield, sneaks for Espinosa. Second touch, squared, and there comes Fabian Johnson to save the day.
Tremendous control by Espinosa, and he goes past the last defender. The cutback was there, but they really got out of dodge there, the United States. And we take a look at it again. It's beautiful control, and Roger Espinosa does beautifully well. I think it's going to be pulled back here and just cannot find his target. Wonderful cover at the end in front of Timmy Howard.
What I love there, Kobe, they had the two central midfielders, the holding midfielders, pushing up.
Yes, what I really love on that play is the quality of Espinosa in that split second to realize that he doesn't have the shot because Howard has come out, and he decides, okay, I'm going to try to put that back across the face of the goal and hope that someone is there.
Former Buckeye looking good. Charging forward, Martinez. Down the near side, Peralta. Back to Martinez. He's got a wicked left. Espinosa sneaks it in, but again, Bengtson and Costly, the two danger men, not quite on the same page. Fabian Johnson will let that one bounce smartly. He's been playing for Hoffenheim. His teammate Danny Williams has not talked to Jurgen Klinsmann earlier. He said Williams has been through that before. Given away, Martinez looking for the corner, and Howard with the punch to save.
Wonderful strike by Martinez, but Timmy Howard again, perfectly positioned. Goes for the top corner, away and over the top of Timmy, but Tim is absolutely plumb to push this one out of harm's way. Wonderful opportunistic strike, but that's top-class goalkeeping.
And we see Martinez come up with the quality that he has, but once again, we expected Tim Howard to need to make a couple of saves in this first half, and he's done a great job so far.
Martinez will swing this one in, although he does have Boniek trailing. Plays it long, headed high into the air, and clattered down by Bradley.
That's one more corner kick set play that we see. The players are getting underneath it and hitting those high balls that are going into the clouds and coming down.
Howard taking his time as we've gone through 33
some
minutes.
Opportunities here, Kobe, at both ends of the field. A very, very even game. The United States have come out of the long grass, literally, a little bit with sharpness as well. A little bit unlucky not to be able to strike. That's a great ball.
Run gets around Gonzalez, but Howard off his line.
Again, wonderfully alert. Timmy Howard had to be there and come off his line, made the decision, snuffs it out.
In for Williams. A little fortunate, but Gonzalez pressured by Espinosa. Martinez fighting for it. Costly double teamed, and a good step in by Williams. Jurgen said anytime there's a coaching change, it seems like he has to prove himself, but he has faith in Danny Williams. Proved it there. Wide side, Altidore. Johnson making a move in the middle. Dempsey has it poked away, and there's no trailing run as Bradley had pushed forward. A lot of red, white, and blue behind as the Bicolores pushing forward. Espinosa wide for Martinez. In on Johnson. Launching it over everyone. Let's just say the final touch has been a bit lacking.
Right from the get-go. Alluded to it a few times. Said it was a strange old game. Some of these opportunities that have looked as if they're easier to hit the open pass.
Well, I think this field is affecting both teams, and I think Honduras is being very surprised that it's affecting them just as much as it is the USA.
Yeah.
U.S. 12-3-3 all-time against Honduras. 4-1-1 in qualifying. No Landon Donovan. Who will be the difference maker today? Johnson, Josie, Jermaine Jones. Back for Schalke this past weekend. Gets it back. Chipping it forward. Overlapping run is there! And it's netted by Deuce! Dempsey with his 31st, and the U.S. with a 1-0 lead.
It's absolutely an international class goal. The finish is exquisite, but the pass is arguably even better. Kobe, this is a peach of a goal. Wonderfully engineered, and it came from good possession deep for the United States, and that will make Clinsey smile like a Cheshire cat. That's an exquisite goal of the highest quality when we see it again. Well, the United States fans, I hope you've got your bibs on because you should be drooling at this. That's a great stab ball. Rainbow pass, pot of gold at the end of it.
It's a quality ball put in. What I really love about this, Jones hitting this ball a little flick over the top, but Dempsey with the late run, continuing his run in a high back line for Honduras, is able, and he doesn't even think about bringing that down. So he says, I'm going to hit that first time,
and the good
puts
thing
it into
is,
the side netting.
Colby, look at this again. He's got late arriving players in, not just one, but two. It's a rabbit hole attack by the United States. They get behind and they exploit, and Dempsey detonates.
Dempsey all alone now at number 3 in all-time goals for the U.S., breaking a tie with Brian McBride and just 3 back of Eric Winalda, your old buddy, and Landon Donovan at 49 goals.
You can talk about goals and you can talk about the conditions and everything, but what will make the coach of the United States so proud of his team is how much they work at these late arriving runs. I said it in the preview, they've got an abundance of players, the likes of Eddie Johnson, Bradley, Jones, Altidore. They all make those late arriving runs, whoever is in front, and that one, that's not just by accident, that's a wonderful goal.
Part of the game that most people don't give Jermaine Jones credit for. Here's Fabian Johnson, one of the 4 German-based players, or German-born players, rattled wide by Dempsey. Figured why not have a go. Valladares, only 5'10", veteran, smart, but sometimes the limitations are there. Dempsey took advantage of them.
No chance for the keeper, no chance for the defenders. That's why it was such an exceptional goal. I mean, the tracking of Dempsey can be argued, but the run was from not just a little dagger run, he was from pretty deep. When that ball is played, he's already left his defenders because he sees the initial pass coming his way. And again, it's a bit of both, the run dictating the pass, but a wonderful understanding between Jermaine and Deuce Dempsey.
38th minute winding to a close. Something you pointed out, Kobe, as we take a look. Reminder to check out the website for all the latest details, videos. We'll have some follow-up video as well from San Pedro Sula. And of course, feel free to get involved in the conversation on Twitter. But the United States weathered the storm over that quarter hour, and now they're starting to put Honduras to the sword a bit. Martinez. Honduras a bit flat-footed. Costly tried to duplicate Jones, deflected. Bradley launches it into the air. Chandler will settle. Under pressure, now knocked off the ball. Costly to the 18 and taken down by Gonzalez.
He's not
the ball
taken down
cleared
at all.
out for
it's
a corner.
Great challenge this, Phil. He's not taking him down at all. It's a wonderful reach in. Great defending by Omar Gonzalez. Timed it to perfection. He gets the man, he gets the ball simultaneously, nothing wrong.
Second corner. Boniek with the in-swinger. Sending it high, sending it far for Bernardez. Bodied away by Gonzalez. He'll keep it in play, though. Johnson over. Good cross from the big man. Chested high in the air. Overhead! Buried for the bicycle as Honduras ties it up. A bit of magic.
That is magic when we talk about this goal. I mean, this goal goes from side to side and then a bicycle kick.
Well,
what can you ask for more than that? That will make the highlight reel all over the world.
Juan Carlos Garcia it is, who goes lovely jubbly, and you see it, the bicycle kick. That was an absolutely extraordinary finish, no question. Ball's played in, it's won at the back post. Here, just turns it in, hopefully. Takes a little bit of a deflection, maybe. No, it's clean, the chest down, and that's an absolutely razzle-dazzle hit to draw this game level.
Well, this is a great goal when you really look at it, but looking at the United States defensively on this, they really need to find their marks. It seems like they're caught flat-footed off of this chest. Right here, the only one that seems to be moving is Cameron towards the ball to try to clear it.
Well, it goes from one end of the field to the other as well, Kobe. So there's some defensive reshaping got to be done here, but everybody just in the blue shirts just standing watching that ball flash across.
And take a look, it was the 3 defenders that worked the bit of offensive magic Muma Bernardes keeping it in, crossing it. It was Minor Figueroa, the other center back, who chested it in, and the man who might have been the least wanted man in this lineup because everyone wanted Izaguirre, but Juan Carlos Garcia just puts his name in the record book.
An exceptional piece of finishing. 2 wonderful goals served up in what arguably be called a fair scoreline in many ways. Both teams been jousting away at each other like St. George and the Dragon in this midfield, not being able to assert full superiority, but United States got to quell this now.
Chandler sliding over, Martinez with help.
Good ball.
Overlap Garcia to the goal line, crossed, and Howard plucks it out of midair.
Now, the big thing for me right now is how does the U.S. react to that goal in the last 5 minutes of the first half? If they get out of this 1-1, they're going to be happy, but Honduras is going to be feeling this much more coming out in the second half, feeling that everything is starting to go their way, seeing if they can get the rhythm.
Fighting for the ball, Jones in midfield. Williams soars forward. Dempsey now clattered down by Bernardes. Play on.
It's been a messy game. It's been ragged in control certain points, but as you say, Kobe, I don't know if there's been too much rhythm from either team. They've not been able to build on any sort of rhythmic possession.
Exactly. The only bit that we saw was in the first 10 or 15 minutes by Honduras, but after that, the U.S. has come back into it. Yep. The question is how does the U.S. respond taking a goal in the last 5 minutes of the half? They always say, as you know as a coach, that's the most dangerous time.
Sure.
Drop ball coming up because the referee saw the 2 players collide and said no foul either way. Dempsey might not agree.
When we look at it again at half-time, when we look at that replay, the central defenders of the United States, once the ball got faced across, not just once but twice, there didn't seem to be that organisation of who to pick up. But hey, defending a goal like that is next to impossible. It's just a snapshot. It's going away. It was good closeness around Garcia, but it's just one of those flashy goals, and a flash of inspiration is what it was for Honduras.
Don't want to say it was really against the run of play. U.S. had started to build some momentum. That definitely puts them on their back foot, though. Williams wide. Ball still in play. Gonzalez will track it down. Midfield's canceling each other out.
You know, and those types of hits at goal as well, Kobe, you got to get it like a NASA moonshot. It's got to be 100% right, or else it'll go into row Z. But he absolutely met it. And for a defender, the agility that he showed and the technique was just top class.
Well, when it comes down to it, you're talking about a goal like that where in actuality it is brilliance. It's a bicycle kick off of the corner kicks. Sometimes you just can't defend brilliance on that, you know, and that it was a great goal, truly.
So many times it's individual brilliance. I think that also has that team element. Minor Figueroa setting him up perfectly.
Well, he kept it alive. I think it was just as much getting it back into that area, Phil, and then the capitalising on it was what was so extraordinary.
Final minute of regulation. Half number 1. Costly taking it wide against Chandler. Chandler, mouth agape. Possession favoring the hosts. Into the middle, Espinosa looking for the give and go. Poked wide. Another chance for Martinez. Bankson and Costly inside. The crossover, everyone though. U.S. has been fortunate that they have not found the range.
Well, I know everyone's going to harp on me for continuously saying this, but I am a winger. You know, so we take a look at this goal right here. I mean, you see Cameron trying to get there. There's just nothing you can do about it. You can even see Howard hands to the face because he knows.
He's got nothing on, so he thinks, why not? If I catch it sweet, it could hit the target, and he risks it, and he gambles, and he absolutely hits a lottery.
Well, I guarantee you one of the things Cameron was screaming about, the boot flashing in front of his face, but it would take a harsh referee to call that back for dangerous play. Now into time added, bounces away past Costly, finds Martinez again, drives it through, and that one will find the goal line.
And that's not a bad look by Martinez. Just drive it low and hard towards goal and see if something happens.
Hard to overhit that one.
There you go. It can bounce around, bounce to one of your players, and you're successful. Take a chance in that final third. That's what it's all about.
And goals coming in the final 10 minutes of this first half. 1-1 the score, as there's maybe one last chance for the U.S. to head to the dressing room with the lead. Howard.
Well, they'll go in knowing that they've found a lot more as this game's went on. The United States have settled into it a lot more, and they've went down
Dempsey.
to a goal that was just completely speculative.
Johnson drives in on Bernardes, takes on two, sneaks it in. Dempsey tries to settle, but hard off the thighs, and Espinosa clears. Final second, perhaps. All eyes and ears on Quesada. Honduras passes it back as the Costa Rican sends the two teams to the dressing room. 1-1 the score, and now a little bit of extras going on. I'm not sure if everyone heard the whistle. We're at the half. U.S. scores first, but Honduras levels us up. So, as far as the United States goes, they did get the goal. They are taking it to Honduras a bit, but a few defensive concerns.
A few defensive concerns for the U.S., but when it comes down to it, they're happy. It's 1-1. They want to tie out of this game at the very least, so they're in good position.
They'll have a locker room, that's for sure. Both coaches will, but Jurgen will tell the lads, we're putting it together. We went down to a bit of a fluky goal. We'll rock and roll in the second half, and they'll come out looking for the winner.